Well, John and I have gone back and forth about the free agents that didn't get signed right till the end. And some of it had to do with the fact that these guys were stars and got qualifying offers, which meant there was draft pick compensation. Some of it had to do with the agent asking for unbelievably long contracts for Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Cody Bellinger. Some of it had to do with the average salary that teams just did not want to be the highest paid player in Major League Baseball, coupled with a long-term contract. Well, Boras kind of melted down over the weekend with the start of the baseball season, and he was questioned, and he defended the deals that he got for Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, Cody Bellinger, the three big names on the free agent market. He prefaced everything by ripping the 10 teams that cut payroll this year, despite the fact that everybody's making a lot of money in Major League Baseball. And he challenged Tony Clark and the Players Association. You represent these players. You should not be allowing these owners, 10 of them out of the 30, to cut payroll the way they did. And then he opened up about what happened to Snell, Montgomery, and Cody Bellinger, and why the two pitchers were out there still on the open market the week the season was opening. He said teams refused to go to the longer deals they wanted for his top three clients because they were not willing to pay a big amount of money and a multi-year deal to a guy who had one good season. He was making reference to Blake Snell, who had the Cy Young Award season with stats that we might never, ever see again, but never got the kind of contract, 7 years, $210 million, that Boras wanted. He said teams were leery of guys. They were holding these guys accountable for what these guys did in 2021 and 2022. And they were not going to reward them just based on 2023. You know, here you had a Cy Young Award winner who wound up, in essence, signing a one-year contract with an option out with the Giants in Blake Snell. Here you had Jordan Montgomery, reinvented himself as a pitcher, front of the rotation, World Series ring, Texas Rangers. Prior to that, had scuffled. You know, Snell, in all honesty, Snell's ERAs in San Diego prior to the Cy Young season were 3.38, very erratic, and 4.20, really poor. And he looked like he was not the pitcher he used to be in Tampa Bay. Bellinger, prior to arriving at Wrigley Field and hitting over 326 home runs, he batted 196 and 201, and the Dodgers didn't even attempt to re-sign him. So Boras is saying, my guys had great seasons, and you're not willing to reward them because you're holding against them what happened to them prior. Well, if I'm a general manager, I'm not giving, and I like Blake Snell, I'm not giving Blake Snell 7 years, 30+ million to pitch 5 innings a game in his starts.
Yeah.
Common sense says you shouldn't do that. So I guess if Boras didn't get his way, Boras is trying to shape it differently and dumping it on the front porch of every major league owner who signed one of his clients. So it's kind of intriguing. His guys got good one-year paydays, but at the end of the day, they probably go back on the open market. And will they even get what they got in San Francisco? Snell, Matt Chapman, Chicago, Bellinger, Jordan Montgomery with his signing in Arizona. Will they get big paydays the next time if they don't have super seasons? It's fascinating. Your reaction to, well, first of all, we've argued about Boras's philosophy and the way to do business. Your reaction to Boras crying about this?
Well, Boras is trying to reframe it, right? Because he didn't get the 7-year deals he thought he would.
It's on them.
Yeah, it's someone else's fault. It's not my fault. But, you know, this is just the natural dynamics of a marketplace, right? And the players are going to want to get as much as they want, as much as they can. And the owners are going to want to try to pay as little as they can. And they usually find a way to meet in the middle. And for these players, there were a lot of question marks, you know? And so, you know, it's no different than in our careers. Like if we have one good year, but a bunch of crappy years before that, and whatever we do in our profession, you know, the big raise is going to be a little skeptical, you know, as far as what you might get from your employer. So the marketplace, I understand the dynamics and how it worked. But I was surprised that it lingered so long. And I think teams like the Giants and Diamondbacks are just sitting there waiting, you know, holding their cards. And then once the market dipped enough, then they went in and struck. And I think they made good deals.
Well, they made good deals for this year if they got the right guy. But remember, there's draft pick compensation. They lost international signing money. I know you're cheering Giant baseball right now because Snell's about to make a start next week. But if he opts out after 1 year, Farhan Zaidi gave up 2 high draft picks and $1 million in international signing money to rent Snell for 1 season. That plus paying him 31 mil per this coming season. That's a huge investment for one round of the rotation, no?
Well, there's always big risks in these deals. I mean, imagine if you signed Snell to a 7-year deal,
Not me.
and then the thing blew up and, halfway through year one. So I don't know. I just think the Giants and all these other teams are trying to demonstrate to their fans that they are committed to winning. And I think that's part of the PR game that's going on here. But, it was the Boras 4, right? It was Snell, Montgomery,
JD
Martinez and Bellinger. Yeah, and every one of those guys got a short-term deal.
1-year deal.
Yeah, but that's the way baseball used to be, like, before free agency. Everyone was just a 1-year contract, right?
Okay, so Boras has had a response. You got an opinion on what would you have given Snell? Fans forum window is open, jumping on board there. John?